workplace harassment के topic पे जा रहे हैं, and I want to take my time. अभी recently, I know that a lot of you were aware that the Me Too campaign was carried out online, and it was just shocking to see so many people come forward. I know a lot of people said that, what's the point of coming forward and doing this, etc. I know there was no point, but unless you've been there, you don't know what you feel like. You feel alone, and you feel that it was your fault, and no matter what you go through, there's this nagging thing behind, in your head that's always there. So just seeing that Me Too, it made you cry, it made you really upset, but it gave you the confidence that there's a lot of people who went through it, and it can't be that I was responsible for it, and you kind of get a perspective that I'm not alone, which is a huge thing to sort of be. That knowledge is empowering, in one way or the other. Anyways, so I'm just going to explain to you what harassment means, and I'm going to give you explicit definition, and it covers everything. So it covers what is harassment. I'm going to give you a pickpocket, dictionary definition for it. It's any unwelcome sexual advance, requests for sexual favors, other verbal or written communication or physical conduct of a sexual nature or sexually demeaning attitudes that create an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment comes within the definition of harassment. This is what sexual harassment means, right? What exactly harassment means? Harassment at workplace को आप define कर सकते हैं कि if you've been subjected to any verbal or written communication that was aggressive, that was at any point in time being personal, and it made you feel uncomfortable, that is harassment. So sexual harassment तो होते ही अलग है, उसमें different forms हैं, वो हम discuss भी करेंगे कि different forms of sexual harassment क्या हैं, जो कि law में detailed में लिखे हुए हैं. But harassment में क्या आता है, apart from sexual harassment, is any form of verbal or written communication of physical gesture or attitude or aggression that someone shows at workplace or otherwise that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's the definition of harassment. Another very good point that someone asked me, and I wanted to talk about it, is wait, I have that somewhere here, this question. Okay, so is any unwelcome act occurring at workplace only to be considered as sexual harassment? No, not necessarily. As per law, actually, and I read it, any situation that is linked to official work or official activity outside office. For instance, you went out for some road shows, or you're traveling and you're doing some perhaps work from different cities, etc., and there's some aggression, or there's something explicit activity that makes you feel violated. If that happens even outside of official premises, then that constitutes workplace harassment. And so it can occur outside office when a colleague is harassing other worker outside the office, or while communicating on employer provided transport in a social event like employer organized dinners, lunches, training event, or dealing with clients outside one's office. So basically, the scope in our law, it's kind of really good. I'm pretty sure we can do a lot more than what's already stated in the law. I think there's definitely a few points we could always, the lawmakers could always go back and work on. But definitely, it's a great find. I had not really research it so much until today, but I was surprised. I was really surprised to the length that the law goes, and now sort of addresses quite a lot of the issues. I'm going to be stating the act that you can look into if you want to know more about the harassment laws. I've just posted that also. Yeah. Okay, so If you face verbal harassment in public or harassment through gestures intended to insult your modesty in a public place, you can approach the nearest police station and register an FIR under Section 509 of the Pakistan Penal Code. The offense is punishable with simple imprisonment of up to 1 year and 500,000 या फिर दोनों मिल, दोनों effective हो सकते हैं. So if you're harassed in public, which so many of us, I'm sure, have been through. If you've been into crowded areas, you've been harassed. I know you've been harassed. So you could actually file a FIR against that person, and we could get him imprisoned for up to 1 year, or charge him with a 500,000 fine, or both. Okay, I'm going to talk about the harassment at. Okay. So someone asked me, can you please explain in detail the issue of sexual harassment? That is, how does it occur at the workplaces? So according to the 2010 law that has been passed in Pakistan, sexual harassment can manifest itself in the following 3 forms. Abuse of authority, which means someone's demanding sexual favors by a person in authority, a supervisor, someone who's a manager, who's maintaining their workload, a person in higher management, the employer. If they ask you for sexual favors in return to give you some benefits, which may include increments, which may include promotions, which may include some training opportunities or traveling or any other opportunity, related to the employment that you're in. If they say that, you will be given this because you provide the sexual favor for me, that is harassment. Creating a hostile working environment. Any unwelcome advances, requests for sexual favors, other verbal or physical conduct. If you feel that you are constantly being manipulated, you're being subject to aggressive behavior, it's a hostile working environment. I know of a person who's very close to me, and I was shocked when she told me that one of her junior employees at the workplace was making it uncomfortable for her to work in her organization. So far that one fine day, after making advances otherwise, he held on to her dupatta, and it was so inconvenient for her, and she was just in tears, and she's such a brilliant girl otherwise. I was just shocked, and I just told her, it's about time you resign and you sort of throw it back in their face. And she had already informed her management, and they had taken no actions over it. So and at one point in time, she had also not addressed it to the management because she felt like no one was really, the management was not interested in helping women out at the workplace. So, that's something we also need to take care of, that we kind of make things in our head, and we never know, maybe we'll inform the management, and they might actually take a legal action or a severe action against this person. That's something that we need to know, but you will never know about it unless you complain about it. So please complain about it. Okay, so we were talking about the 3 different kinds of workplace harassments that are stated by law. One is the abuse of authority, the other is creation of hostile working environment, which interferes with individuals' work performance or intimidates them, retaliation. And then the third is the retaliation one. That happens a lot when the victim refuses sexual favors, and the perpetrator can retaliate in following ways, by they can either make sure that the bichari jo bhi victim thi, they might not give them increments or promotions, or even terminate them, or distort their evaluations, or even generate general gossip about them, negative feedback about them. ये चीजें वो कर सकते हैं, and so these are the 3 things that the law states are governed under the Sexual Harassment Act. That's quite a lot, actually. Just reading about it, if you can imagine, I didn't know that if someone retaliates because you did not give them a sexual favor and they're gossiping about you, you could actually file a complaint against them. I didn't know that, but that was something that was enlightening, and I'm sure it's enlightening for you as well. There was a question that I received from one of, I'm sure he or she was working for a company, and she asked me that I'm an employer and I want to know what should I do if I want to comply with this law. If you read the law, they'll tell you that you need to form a committee. Every organization must have constitute an inquiry committee that is that consists of one woman, one senior management, and one person from either of that represents the workforce. If you have a union, could be a union leader. If you don't have a union, he or she could also be from outside the company, someone that is respected as he or she is a respectable member of community, so that could be that person could also be on board. But so you have to have at least a 3-member committee, that inquiry committee at work, that can implement and evaluate such instances for you. You need to at least have one woman, one senior management, and one representative for workforce, a representative for workforce, or someone from outside, a respectable community member, right? It's your responsibility to ensure that there's compliance to the law, and it's added onto your code of ethics. It has to be also displayed wherever you can in the organization in the preferred language that is used within the organization. That's also very important. So if you've gotten this, then you should be displaying this in some places within the organization. Also, if there's a trauma situation involved, whereby a victim has gotten into a trauma state, then you have to fulfill any medical obligations that are incurring, which may include counseling, which may include medical treatment, besides granting additional medical leaves if required. So, and you can't discriminate against the complainant. If an XYZ is a low performer, but he or she actually went through sexual harassment by ABC, a manager who is a great performer, I'm sorry. Your great performer will either have to be let go or fined or demoted or something or the other. He will have to bear the loss. And you can't discriminate to that low performer on the basis of this fact that, oh, ek to performance bhi achhi nahi hai aur ab complaint bhi karti hai. Knowingly that complaint is right, then you're on the wrong side of law, my friend. So that's something that you should know. If a company is found not complying with the law, then you are liable to pay a fine which may extend up to PKR 1 lakh, but will not be less than anything less than 25,000 rupees, which I think is very little compared to what corporations are capable of. But I think it's a sizable amount. It's a sizable fine that you have to pay, and something. And it's not about just the fine that you have to pay. It's about the negativity that's going to happen about your organization once something like this is reported and it goes unreported or it goes unpunished. अच्छा, अब अगर आपके साथ we're going to address the topic about what should I do if I face harassment. This is something that has been asked by so many people for so long, and there are so many ways that me and my partner Noor Jahan in Pakistan, you probably have heard of her and have spoken to her. We've talked about we've been very vocal about it on public spaces. But if you face harassment, the best thing to do is, if there is an inquiry committee at your office, you should approach them. If there's no inquiry committee, you should approach your HR. And you should submit a written complaint to that inquiry committee in your office. The inquiry committee has to then inform the accused person that there has been a complaint against them within 3 days of the written complaint being received by the inquiry committee. अगर उस अक्यूज ने विद इन 7 days कमिटी को रिस्पॉन्ड बैक नहीं किया विद प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन और कि मैंने ये नहीं किया या मुझे नहीं हुआ या फिर समथिंग, so then the committee can then take a stand against them, either charge him or report him to the court of law, file an FIR, etc., etc. If your inquiry committee or your HR is not helping you, this is what you can do for yourself. You can go to complain this to a police station or a court, and that person will penalize, will of course run the case and then penalize the person who has been accused of the harassment. The inquiry committee, if find someone guilty of the harassment, वो क्या कर सकते हैं? वो ये कर सकते हैं कि वो compulsory retirement देते हैं उस आदमी को, dismissal from service, withholding for a specific period, promotion or increment, and so forth. If the court or the police station does not accept your FIR, does not file your FIR, what can you do? You can actually go and complain about this to the governor of the state, whether it's Punjab or Sindh or wherever. So, that's the highest that you can take your complaint about sexual harassment. There are specific laws telling employers that they cannot discriminate against any witnesses or complainant for lodging complaints of sexual harassment or harassment against anyone in the organization. There are quite a few minor penalties and major penalties that the harasser can be subjected to if found guilty of the harassment by the inquiry committee. Minor penalties include censure, withholding increment or promotion for a specific period of time, stopping at an efficiency bar in time scale for a specific period of time, recovering compensation from pay or any other source of guilty person. This compensation has to be paid to the victim. Sometimes, if there are witnesses are also paid some amount from this fine that is charged. Major penalties: reduction to a lower post or lower time scale, compulsory retirement, dismissal from service, removal from service, or fine. 5 lakh तक का फाइन आपको मिल सकता है अगर पुलिस में इंफॉर्मेशन दायर की जाए, FIR कट जाए हरासर के अगेंस्ट, तो 5 लाख का फाइन या फिर 3 साल तक की jail time, or both can be given to the harasser. So that's a lot, and I think that's good. Acha, there was also a very good question. What if you've been accused of harassment and you actually didn't do any harassment, and you know that that person is just doing it to punish you? Then you need to face the committee and provide evidence of the allegations, provide against the evidence against the allegations that have been made against you, and you can hire a representative for yourself at this point in time. I hope that kind of tells you about what workplace harassment is, and what are the workplace harassment, how can you tackle workplace harassment. But I'm just going to repeat this again for anyone who watches this again. Workplace harassment हुई अगर आपके पास, चाहे वो सेक्सुअल नेचर हो या ना हो, आप उसके बारे में कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं अपनी इंक्वायरी कमेटी को. अगर कोई इंक्वायरी कमेटी नहीं बनाई हुई है कॉर्पोरेशन ने, तो HR को. HR भी एड्रेस नहीं करता. You can go to court of law or police and file an FIR. And if you filed an FIR against that person can get imprisonment of up to 3 years or a fine of 5 lakh rupees, up to 5 lakh rupees. So that's about it. I think I've tried to cover whatever Faiza gave me as best as I can with all the factual information that I could. I hope that this was beneficial live session for you. If there are any things or any queries that you may have later on, you can always get in touch with me. Looking forward to hearing back from you guys. And thank you, Faiza, again. I love you too. And I hope that we have a more engaging session next time. Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.